Level 1. The first $2,000. You don't start with a restaurant. You start with a job. Every day, you watch customers walk into someone else's restaurant, order food, pay, and leave. And every time you watch the owner collect the money, one thought keeps coming back. What if this was mine? At first, it's just a dream. You imagine your own sign above the door, your own menu, your own customers. But then you check your savings. You have about $2,000. And suddenly, the dream doesn't look so simple. A proper restaurant needs equipment, rent, ingredients, furniture, electricity, and enough cash to survive the first few weeks. You start doing the math, and the numbers are way above what you have. So you make a decision. You're not opening a big restaurant. Not yet. Instead, you search for the smallest place you can afford. You find a tiny empty shop on a street with decent foot traffic. The walls are old. The floor needs cleaning. There's barely enough room for a few tables. But the rent is cheap. And that's what matters right now. You look around the empty room and start imagining what it could become. A small counter here. A stove over there. A few tables by the window. Nothing fancy. Just enough to start. You spend your first dollars carefully. A used stove. A few pots. Plates. Utensils. A small refrigerator. Then ingredients. You keep the menu simple because every extra dish means more ingredients, more waste, and more money tied up. By the time you're finished setting everything up, your $2,000 has almost disappeared. And now comes the scary part. You actually have to open. The next morning, you clean the counter, arrange the tables, prepare your first meals, and put the sign outside. Then you wait. 10 minutes. Nothing. 20 minutes. Still nothing. You start wondering if you made a terrible mistake. Then someone stops outside. They look at the menu. They look through the window. And finally, they walk in. Your first customer. You smile and ask, "What would you like?" It's only one sale. It isn't profit. It isn't success. But it's proof that someone is willing to pay for what you made. And tomorrow, you have to get another customer. Then another. Because level 1 isn't about becoming a successful restaurant owner. It's about proving that this tiny business can survive long enough to become one. Level 1 was simple. You had a tiny restaurant, $2,000 in savings, basic equipment, and one big problem: getting someone to walk through the door. Then something changed. Your first customer came back. Then another customer came back. Soon, people started recognizing your restaurant. They knew the menu. They knew the prices. And slowly, that tiny shop stopped feeling like a desperate gamble. It started feeling like a real business. But success creates a different kind of problem. One afternoon, 3 customers walk in at once. Before you can serve them, another group enters behind them. Suddenly, every table is occupied. You're running between the kitchen and the counter, trying to keep everyone's food moving. And for the first time, you're not worried about whether people will buy your food. You're worried about running out of it. You need more ingredients, more meat, more vegetables, more drinks. And that means spending more money. At the end of the month, you finally sit down and check the numbers. Your restaurant made $2,500 in sales. For a moment, you're excited. Then you subtract everything you had to pay for: rent, ingredients, electricity, packaging, transportation, cleaning, and equipment repairs. Suddenly, that $2,500 doesn't look so big anymore. That's when you learn one of the most important lessons in business. Revenue is not profit. You can sell $2,500 worth of food without keeping anywhere close to $2,500. So instead of celebrating every sale, you start studying your numbers. You discover that some meals are extremely popular. Others barely sell. One expensive dish is costing you too much to make. Meanwhile, another cheap dish is flying off the tables. So you change the menu. You remove the meals that aren't working. You focus on the ones customers actually want. And almost immediately, the restaurant becomes easier to run. You buy fewer ingredients. You waste less food. Your kitchen moves faster. But then you notice another problem. You're doing everything yourself. You're buying ingredients, cooking, cleaning, serving customers, taking payments, answering messages. And some nights, you don't even get a chance to sit down. That's when you realize something important. Your restaurant is growing faster than you can handle alone. So you make another scary decision. You hire your first part-time worker. Now you have another expense. Even on a slow day, that worker still needs to be paid. But there's a huge benefit. You finally have time to step away from the kitchen. You can watch the finances, talk to customers, improve the menu, and think about how to bring even more people through the door. Over the next few months, sales keep climbing. $3,000, then $4,000, then $6,000, and eventually $10,000. You look at the number for a moment because this is the same little restaurant where you once waited for your very first customer. Now almost every table is full. The business is finally generating real revenue.